When my best friend Alex got kicked out of his house for bad behavior, it came as a shock to everyone who knew him. Alex and I had been inseparable since elementary school, sharing countless adventures and secrets. He was like a brother to me, and seeing him in such distress was heartbreaking. The evening it happened, I was sitting in my room, scrolling through social media, when my phone buzzed with a text from Alex. "Can I come over? Got kicked out," it read. Without a moment's hesitation, I replied, "Of course. Come over. I'll be waiting." My parents were understanding and kind-hearted, and they had always welcomed Alex into our home. When I told them what had happened, they were more than willing to let him stay with us for as long as he needed. They knew how close we were and how much he meant to me. Alex arrived at our doorstep half an hour later, looking disheveled and forlorn. His usually bright eyes were dull, and he carried a small backpack slung over one shoulder, which I assumed held the few belongings he had managed to grab in a hurry. "Hey," I said softly, pulling him into a hug. "Come on in." "Thanks, man," he muttered, his voice heavy with emotion. We went up to my room, and I gave him a moment to collect himself. He sank onto my bed, staring at the floor. I could tell he was struggling to keep it together. "So, what happened?" I asked gently, sitting down next to him. Alex sighed deeply, running a hand through his messy hair. "I messed up big time. My parents and I had a huge fight. They told me to leave and not come back until I got my act together." I listened as he recounted the events that led to his being kicked out. It was a culmination of things: poor grades, skipping classes, and hanging out with the wrong crowd. His parents had reached their breaking point, and in a moment of anger and frustration, they had told him to leave. "I'm really sorry, Alex," I said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "But you know you can stay here for as long as you need. My parents won't mind." "Thanks, man," he said again, his eyes finally meeting mine. "I don't know what I'd do without you." That night we talked for hours. Alex opened up about the pressure he had been feeling at home, the expectations he struggled to meet, and how it all became too much for him. I listened, offering support and reassurance. By the time we went to sleep, it was clear that Alex was determined to make things right with his parents, but he didn't know where to start. The next few days were a mix of trying to keep things normal and figuring out how to help Alex get back on track. My parents spoke with him, offering advice and encouragement. They even suggested that he write a letter to his parents, explaining his feelings and apologizing for his behavior. Alex liked the idea, and he spent a lot of time drafting the perfect letter, hoping it would help mend the rift between him and his parents. One evening after dinner, Alex sat down with my parents and me in the living room. He had his letter in hand, and he was visibly nervous. "Do you want me to read it before you send it?" I asked, trying to ease his anxiety. "Yeah, that'd be great," he replied, handing me the letter. I read it carefully, impressed by the honesty and maturity it conveyed. Alex had poured his heart into it, expressing regret for his actions and a genuine desire to make amends. He also acknowledged the mistakes he had made and the impact they had on his family. "I think it's perfect," I said, smiling at him. "Your parents will appreciate this." Alex nodded, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He decided to send the letter the next day, and we all hoped for a positive response. While waiting for a reply, Alex and I continued with our usual routine: school, hanging out with friends, and playing video games. I tried to keep his spirits up, reminding him that things would eventually get better. A few days later, Alex received a text from his mother. She wanted to meet him and talk. Alex was both excited and nervous, but I reassured him that this was a good sign. It meant his parents were willing to listen and work things out. We arranged for Alex to meet his mother at a nearby cafe. He asked me to come along for moral support, and I gladly agreed. When we arrived, his mother was already there, sitting at a corner table. She looked relieved to see Alex, and they hugged tightly before sitting down. "I read your letter," she began, her voice soft but firm. It really touched me, Alex. Your father and I want to work things out with you, but we need you to understand that things have to change. I know, Mom, Alex said, his voice trembling slightly. I want to change. I want to make things right. They talked for a long time, addressing the issues that had led to the fallout. Alex's mother listened patiently, offering her perspective and understanding. It was clear that both sides were willing to make an effort to repair their relationship. After their conversation, Alex's mother suggested that he come back home, but with some conditions. He needed to focus on his studies, stay away from trouble, and communicate more openly with his parents. Alex agreed wholeheartedly, grateful for the opportunity to make amends. When we returned to my house, Alex was visibly relieved and optimistic about the future. He thanked my parents for their support and hospitality, promising to stay in touch and let them know how things were going. The next day, Alex moved back home. It was a bittersweet moment, as I would miss having him around, but I was happy that he was taking steps to improve his relationship with his family. Over the next few weeks, he worked hard to meet his parents' expectations, focusing on his studies and making an effort to communicate better. We stayed close, hanging out whenever we could, and supporting each other through the ups and downs of life. Alex's relationship with his parents gradually improved, and they started to trust him again. He also began to see the importance of balancing fun with responsibility, something that had been missing from his life before. One evening, Alex invited me over for dinner at his house. It was the first time I'd been there since he had been kicked out, and I was curious to see how things had changed. His parents greeted me warmly, and there was a noticeable sense of harmony in the air. During dinner, we talked and laughed, sharing stories and catching up. It was heartwarming to see Alex and his parents interacting with ease, a stark contrast to the tension that had previously existed. After dinner, Alex and I went to his room, where he showed me the changes he had made. His desk was neatly organized, with textbooks and notebooks stacked in order. There were no signs of the chaos that had once defined his space. "Things are really different now," Alex said, a sense of pride in his voice. "I'm doing better in school, and my parents and I are getting along much better." "I'm really happy for you, man," I replied, giving him a pat on the back. "You've come a long way." As we sat there, reminiscing about the past and looking forward to the future, I realized how much this experience had changed both of us. It had taught us the importance of family, communication, and the willingness to make amends. It had also strengthened our friendship, proving that we could rely on each other no matter what. Life moved on, and Alex continued to thrive. He became more responsible and focused, and his relationship with his parents grew stronger with each passing day. They supported his interests and encouraged him to pursue his goals, and he, in turn, respected their guidance and authority. Our friendship remained as strong as ever. We continued to share our lives, supporting each other through thick and thin. The experience of Alex being kicked out and finding his way back home had left a lasting impact on both of us. It had taught us valuable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the power of family. Years later, as we stood together at our high school graduation, I couldn't help but think back to that pivotal moment. It had been a turning point for Alex, setting him on a path to a brighter future. And it had reminded me of the importance of being there for the people we care about, no matter what. As we walked across the stage to receive our diplomas, I knew that Alex and I would continue to support each other in the years to come. We had faced challenges together and come out stronger on the other side, and no matter where life took us, we would always have each other's backs. Looking back, I realized that the journey we had been on was more than just a story of friendship. It was a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bond of family. And as we stepped into the next chapter of our lives, I knew that those lessons would stay with us, guiding us through whatever challenges lay ahead.